Okay, with us today we have Tre Miller, who's going to be talking with us about his career. We are going to be talking with him about his position as a Long Term Care Supervisor for Northwestern Mutual. Thank you for joining us today, Tre. And I guess I just want to talk about, like what it is that you do, how long you've been doing it. I'll ask a number of questions and just try to get to know a little bit more about, you and what you do. So if you want to just maybe talk about your position and what that all entails.
Okay. At Northwestern Mutual, or NM, you might hear me refer to as, I normally assist a team of 15 members each and every day, from escalations to day-to-day processing, from transactional work to actually the billing side of that insurance, and also speaking with clients and financial reps that sell the insurance and on how to proceed with clients that are going on an actual claim. Each and every day we probably handle over 200 plus calls. Outside of that, I also train our team members too. So the times that I'm not doing those things, like currently now, we have a 6-week training course that I'll take the new hires through and then get them ready to get on the phones.
Okay. You said you supervise 15 people?
Yeah.
Okay. So is it safe to assume you started off doing what it is that you supervise, the people you supervise, your team?
I actually were their team members. When I started at NM, I was actually a contractor, and I started in 2018 in August. From August to January, I got kind of added on as an actual, it's called a long-term temp, so I was actually an NM employee.
Mm-hmm.
For about 2 months, I was moved from a temp to a permanent employee, so I can get like the benefits.
Mm-hmm.
6 months later, I was promoted to an analyst, which is more of like a liaison between the supervisor. Before they get to me, they'll talk to an analyst, and if the analyst can't handle it, then they'll talk to me. I was in that role for about a year, and then last February I was moved to a specialist or a long-term care supervisor.
Okay. Wow, so it sounds like you've been doing a lot in the 4 years that you've been there. Okay. So you got promoted to supervisor. How do you like that?
I love it. I miss talking to the clients on the phones, so that's probably the only thing. So we don't have as many escalations that don't get from our analysts are pretty good.
Okay.
So I really like just the training piece. So I got to like reevaluate the training that I had when I started in 2018 and try to look at it a different way and fix it to where we can all grasp the information, because it can be different, especially for insurance.
Yeah, that's what's really great about like supervision and management, is that you can be part of the change, right? And progressing as a company, but also like it kind of pulls you away from that customer service, which usually draws you into the field.
Yes.
Okay. Backing up a little bit, like how did you get into this?
I was actually at BMO Harris. I was a supervisor in the bank, the actual call center. BMO was a great company. I just didn't really like it. Wasn't fitting for me. And they were taking over 500 plus calls as a team each day, and it was just kind of overwhelming at one point. And then I've heard about Northwestern Mutual from plenty other different sources and even commercials.
Yep.
And then I came across a Manpower rep. Actually, we were at a basketball game. We were watching 2 kids that played on same teams but different age groups.
Okay.
And she was a recruiter for Manpower, and that's how I came across this opportunity. So she's like, hey, just give it some thought. So I did give it some thought, maybe like a week or so in August of 2018. Then after that, I just looked into what the company stood for and how long it's been around, and then I applied and just kind of went from there.
Okay. And it sounds like, that's what led you there, but what do you need for this position? So a lot of our individuals, that we work with young people 16 to 24. Some want to go on to college, beyond high school. Some, want to do something more hands-on. Some, there's a number of different things they want to do. So in a position such as this, what is it that might be needed that they wouldn't need to do?
Definitely the college experience would be necessary for sure.
It's a requirement of the position?
Yes, so the requirement for positions, it would be like a bachelor in like any related field, but mainly like a business or any, like I do criminal justice, for example. So it's like that had nothing to do with insurance, but as long as you had like a background in that field, then it'd be necessary that they'll look you on and have like type of experience, especially going to college. So I would highly recommend.
Anything else as far as like certifications?
No, it's pretty much a customer service background. So if you had any
Okay.
customer service experience on any position, that would be definitely needed.
Okay, okay. So you did talk about a 6-week training. So my assumption is that you start off doing that and do you have to pass a test? I mean, what does that look like?
So we go to like a 6-week kind of. The first couple weeks are okay, and then the third or fourth are pretty vigorous.
Okay.
There's no test at the end. What we kind of do, or I kind of implemented, is like a Microsoft Forms kind of quiz throughout every week.
Okay.
So it gives them an opportunity to test their knowledge. I can, Zoom is different now since that's where we are for
Yep.
training. I'm in the office a couple days, but I still have to train from Zoom. So
Oh,
I
okay.
can't see if they're learning. I can ask questions, but if I get the quizzes back, I can kind of tell where the knowledge gap is.
Yep.
With Microsoft Forms, the good thing about that, it comes right up if you answer it wrong or not, or if
Okay.
it's incorrect. So after about 6 weeks, the 7th week, we kind of put them on the phones and let them observe, like a senior rep or an analyst, what they do,
Okay.
how they take calls, while they just listen. And then the following week, we'll switch. So they'll type and talk, and then the analyst will just view and see what they're doing, what screens they're going to. And then by pretty much week 9, they should be by themselves.
Okay.
And then I usually can evaluate, and I can just drop it on the phone calls and kind of see what's going on.
Okay. What is it? There's probably not a typical phone call, but like what might be some topics that people call for? Like what are the reasonings?
The main would be someone that has like dementia or a cognitive impairment.
Okay.
So that'll be probably the main 2 reasons why they'd be calling. For long-term care, it's similar to like car insurance. We kind of compare it to, because you pay your premiums all this time, you use it, you lose it.
Yeah.
Kind of insurance, so we call it that, or luxury insurance for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely beneficial to have, especially if you have a history of like a cognitive impairment or a dementia patient or a parent or a sibling.
Okay. Okay. So it's different. I know Northwestern Mutual has so many different, entities and such, like the life insurance and things. So this is long-term care insurance?
Yes, long-term care, yeah.
I don't know. I guess I'm not familiar.
Yes, I wasn't either. When I first got here, I have no idea, because I actually got hired for something else, like a history interviewer. And the same day I got switched to long-term care.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, let's go along with it.
Yep.
But I know like under NM itself, the life has its own business, the
Yep.
disability investments has its own different business areas. Long-term care is pretty much an insurance that supplements if I were to be saying I had dementia today. I would call, I would go through the process of going on a claim.
Mm-hmm.
Typically what would happen is we'll get all the information, we'll send it over to our claims team, and then they'll work with the patient's POA or representative to work through that process. This is strictly for that type of insurance. Life is strictly for like a death benefit, a beneficiary, or
Right.
they take out loans on life. But long-term care is its only product that helps if you need to go like in a assisted living or nursing facility.
Okay. So, just out of my own curiosity then, so long-term care is kind of different than maybe health or life insurance in that you wouldn't exactly take on a long-term care insurance prior to having a specific diagnosis.
If you didn't have one, no. So
Right.
and when I talk to clients, I just tell them, just like, if you have no history, because we have clients that are in their 80s and 90s and still are having premiums payments, and if you didn't have a previous grandmother, mother, someone in your family trait line that had that type of cognitive impairment or anything like that, I would probably would need it.
Yeah.
But it's like, again, if you do, it's beneficial definitely to have, because that'll be a huge out-of-pocket cost.
Okay. Interesting. See, learned something new. Okay. Okay. So those are the things that you think that you need. Is there any specific characteristics, besides the things that are required for the job, but like any characteristics you think that someone should bring to the job, or maybe a need for the position?
I would say it's someone that's ready to learn and willing to just be open to opportunities.
Okay.
This position requires someone to be very, sometimes analytical.
Okay.
Someone that looks at attention to details and certain difference, especially with someone else's insurance and then a time in their life where they're not the best.
Okay.
So someone that has like a cheerful, upbeat personality, just an outstanding person overall, just being open, just being a person or a people person, being able to talk to people about different scenarios each day.
Okay. And if you don't mind me asking, where did you go to college?
I went to UW Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, okay, okay. Do you feel like that was you were able to get a good background and, through your education to be able to help you in this position?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, because that's good to know, because even though there are some people that might go to school and get a degree in one thing and then don't necessarily use that specific degree, but it's important to have that background and that education,
yes.
even just the experience, right, to flourish in a career or a job.
Yes.
Okay. Through all this, would you say getting to this career and getting to the position you are, have you faced any barriers at all?
Yes, the biggest barrier I had, even actually in school, I was 20 years old. I have 2 sons.
Okay.
I have an 8-year-old, which is Jay, and then I have Twan, who would have been 13 this year.
Okay.
They both were born on September 20th.
Oh, wow.
My first son was born in 2009, but he was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So at that time, I was like 20 years old, sophomore in college, trying to run track and do both and take care of a son that needs 24-hour care. It kind of got like really, really like tough.
Yeah.
Just taking a day at a time. I took time off on track. Was able to still, get schoolwork and stuff done. He actually passed away June 1st of 2010.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
So I knew nothing about long-term care. So now getting all this information, I wish I would have had that because there was something you could have paid for.
Absolutely.
So out of pocket at a 21-year-old, $10,000 is a lot, especially the parents just trying to help the best they can. So that was probably like the hugest barrier I ever had, trying to get through all of that to where I am today.
Yeah, it's a challenge in of itself, not just like the trauma that can cause, but just the responsibility of children and how that can, get in the way a little bit. Not in a bad way, right? But just, create a little difficulty in the road.
Yeah.
So that's great that you're able to overcome that. In this, would you say there's anything can I ask you, like, you started in 2018, you said you started off at BMO. Anything prior to that or any other history in customer service that you had that you were able to bring into this position?
Yes, I was a manager at Guarantee Bank, which actually closed. That's how I ended up at BMO. I was there from 2015 to about 2017.
Okay.
Bank closed, just in the market looking for a job, and then ended up at BMO for that year that I was there. Prior to that, I was at the Walgreens. I was a store manager at Walgreens in Titanium Capital, and I was there from probably 2011 to 2015.
Okay, so most of your career or working experience has been customer facing.
Yes.
Okay, and you said it before that you would say that was something that's pretty important to bring into this position.
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay. Anything that you would do different?
Overall, in my experiences, no. I've learned a ton in the last decade or so about myself and even about being in this field in general.
Right.
No, I wouldn't do anything different that I could think of now.
Okay. Do you feel like there's something more ahead?
Yes, I always see that I have forward thinking, so I was thinking, what's the next step? I'm glad to, like I said, be under NM, who has like a map they gave me the first day, and it's like career pathing. So you can go this way, you can be a director, you can be a program specialist. So I like that they have that. So we're forward thinking to going in different directions.
Yeah, and it sounds like you've already been able to jump up in those 4 years you've been there.
Absolutely.
Where do you hope to land?
So I'm actually in processing with manager at investments, so I'll be probably leaving Long Term Care soon.
Okay.
So a couple of them I actually play in our basketball league for NM.
Okay.
And on Tuesday nights I play with the VPs and a couple other representatives that work there, and the investment manager there on my team. So they'll be talking about, it's opening coming up. I'll probably shadow them downtown soon.
Yep.
So that's probably where I'll be heading towards next.
Relationship building is key.
Yeah.
I tell all of our young people it is important to know things, but it's also important to know people.
Yeah.
And build those relationships, because those get you so far. I mean, it's just, I think, essential. And which is why we want to bring people in, such as you, to introduce to our young people, and maybe one day make a connection if needed, right, for someone who's looking to be mentored and want to fall under that. I know I kind of asked what you do, but if you could maybe give an outline of when you get in the morning to when you leave, or I know you sound like you may work from remotely as well.
Yeah,
okay.
From home, yeah.
And, a day to day, what you typically might do.
Okay. Each day I log in about 8 o'clock. We have an 8:30 meeting. It's called like a command Friday what service level looked like, how many calls are holding, and how many financial reps, how many calls that were either dropped or something happened or based off weather.
Okay.
They go through each team, they explain to each rep, 30-minute meeting about what's going on with your team. After that, I usually pop over because now I have training, so I usually pop over training. I have a co-manager, Anisha, who's training with me, so she usually handles the morning. We're trying to switch off throughout the day because we both have different meetings we attend.
Mm-hmm.
About 10 o'clock, I kind of go over. I actually have 2 team members that aren't even here. They live in India. So I have Ajay and who also report to me. So I kind of check their work.
Okay.
So they process pretty much all of our transactions. They take no phone calls.
Okay.
So any of our like payments or billing, I go in each day and just check to make sure all of them are correct. And then kind of like do an audit for them and then send that out by like 11. We usually typically take lunch together for training. So like 12 to 1, we'll take lunch. 1 o'clock we'll resume probably a new topic. We try to split it up half and half to not overload or add videos. Cause there's a lot of our training that we recorded in the office before the pandemic. So we have actual simulations for me being a phone rep, or like one of my reps, Patrick, that's taking a phone call. So it's like something for them to watch and not sit for 8 hours. So we'll give them time to do that. There's also courses from like 2 to 3. I kind of give them time. It's called Workday, where they can go online and do actual e-learnings for their position for being new to the company. That usually takes them about an hour at best. 3 to 4:30, we'll resume and it's just a debrief. I kind of just talk to them, ask what they need or learned, or what they have any questions about, or what they seen Friday. They shadowed on Friday, so what did you do Friday? How did that go? And then at 4:30, they'll take off, and 4:35, I'll just kind of process reports until unless anyone needs a supervisor call.
Okay. So you're pretty much on the computer
All day.
all day. How is that?
At first it was like overwhelming when I first kind of switched over to this role. Cause like, hey, I got a meeting, and then I log in from my phone. So I take a lot of Zoom calls. If I'm out, I'll take a call on my phone.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's gotten better as I've gotten used to like adding different things into my Outlook calendar. So even blocking off time to like actually take a break from the computer for myself. Like I'm not gonna be at my desk between this 15-minute window. Please don't email or anything. So block them, but I'll still get it. But yeah, I had to actually start to do that so we don't kind of feel like I was burnt out.
Yeah, that's a lot. And I think even this new remote world is like, people who work remotely, I feel like are even more busy because like, during the day, regular work day, we're talking to our coworkers, taking a break from our desk, having, going to grab coffee, whatever the case may be, where when you're remote, like if people want to, oh, you're done with this meeting at 2, cool, well, let's meet at 2:05.
Yeah.
And so it's just like back to back to back, and it's a hard adjustment. And it's draining, I think.
Yeah, very. Especially with our calendars for anyone in leadership, it's called open calendars. So if I wanted to see John Slipsky, the owner of NM's calendar, I can add a meeting on his calendar. It'll go to the assistant, and then they'll email back. But anyone else, I can just drop time in for them, and it'll show up on their calendar. And they'll probably send a message like, "Hey, we're meeting about," or.
So
but
you
that
have to
happens
like
to me.
schedule everything in your calendar then, so that you don't get.
Yeah, so I kind of block it off into like red, so like, okay, this time he's not available.
Okay, and this is new, right? In that you're like, were you in person prior to all this,
Yes,
right?
I was
Okay.
in person. We actually started work from home like mid 2019. So I was working from home, but maybe like 2 days, and then office for 3. And then when I moved to analyst, it switched. So I was in office for 2, like Tuesday and Thursdays, and then at home Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So I was pretty used to working at home for a little while.
So are you in the office then? You said a couple days?
Yes, I'll be going in tomorrow for sure.
Okay.
So Tuesday and Thursdays, I try to get in. And then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I work from home.
And your team works from home, or they work in the office?
Majority of my team works from home, but they have been coming in, so I've been catching a few here and there.
Okay.
But right now, the company's not making it mandatory. So we have like a soft, bring everyone back to campus a couple of weeks, and then still giving an option due to where we are now.
Okay. What would you say is the most interesting part of your career?
Being part of, I think, our team, because we have so many different individuals from everywhere. I think that's probably the most inspirational and spot on for me, is like learning different things. Like I'll be having a meeting in the morning and then speak to Ajay, who's in India, area, he's telling about the weather there. Then I have Trevor lives in Phoenix,
Mm-hmm.
and then my other co-manager, Manisha, lives in Virginia. So it's the different conversations we have each day
Yeah.
about what's going on everywhere else,
Mm-hmm.
and just talking to people in general. I just like being around
Mhm.
people and trying to help them in any form or fashion. And
Yeah.
that's why what draw me to this company.
If you, now, it sounds like they're doing their job from all different types of places. If you ever want to relocate, was that possible in your position?
Yes,
Okay.
that's a big thing too. I know this company actually, we hired over a ton of people during the last 2 years and just gave them work
Mhm.
from home right away. So, like, for example, there's this man named Trevor who started with me. He was in the same training class who now just moved to Arizona maybe a few months ago.
Wow. Okay.
So I can actually just continue to move and still work
That's nice.
at the same company.
Yeah. Besides the fact that we spoke off camera that
Yeah.
you coach
Yeah.
basketball as well, so that might be a little challenging.
Yes.
But can I ask? I know it's not necessarily like your full-time career, but you do coach basketball. And how
Yes.
long you've been doing that?
I've been doing that for 4 years too.
4 years.
So
Okay.
I started hearing about this same fall of 2018.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what led you there? I'm assuming you played, maybe?
Yeah, I played basketball. I went to Brookfield East and transferred to Tech.
Okay.
I played basketball since I was like 4, maybe. I've always had a passion for sports, and then
Mhm.
coaching an opportunity came up when another manager that worked for Cudahy that worked at Walgreens, and he was like,
Okay.
"Hey, we're looking for a freshman coach." At the
Mhm.
time, I was like, I have a lot. I don't know if I'm able to do it, but my schedule now it works
Allows
with
you
this,
to.
so
Mhm.
it's perfect. So I started as a freshman assistant my first year, then I moved to freshman head coach, and then my third year there I got moved to JV head coach, and then this year I'm assistant varsity coach and
Okay.
head JV coach.
Nice. You like that, I assume?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess my last question is like, what keeps you here? What keeps you in this career? You can even talk about basketball or, your position as supervisor at Northwestern Mutual.
Okay, cool. So for basketball, it's just being around the kids. My son loves basketball too.
Mhm.
So just being around kids and just helping them, let them know that to never give up on their goals. It's more than basketball for me. So, for example, for practice for me, a lot of kids were used to it because the first 30 minutes I make them do their homework. So they're not used to doing that.
Mhm.
So they're like, why aren't you basketball now? Because you guys have been hanging out after school and I know you do your homework.
Yeah.
Let's do your homework first, and then 6 o'clock, then we'll be able to go. So we still have an hour and a half to get done what we need to cover.
Mhm.
So that's my biggest thing, just making sure that you have the tools to get to play if you want to
Yep.
play at the next level.
Right.
School you can't play basketball.
Yep.
Northwestern Mutual is just, like I said, for me, it's just working for a company that actually cares for their employees and being around other like-minded individuals. I think that's what keeps me there.
Mhm.
Don't even really call it work because it's just like a normal interaction for me every day. It's just
Mhm.
going in, and I love doing what I do.
Yeah.
I don't have no complaints, and then works literally with everyone's kind of schedule, so they find a way to make it work, and that's the biggest thing I think that keeps me here.
Okay. Well, Mr. Tre Miller, I appreciate you coming here today and talk with us about your career, and best of luck to you.
All right, thank you.